It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
The Health in the Real World podcast is sponsored by...
My name is Randy Herring, and I'm the author of The Fitness Mindset, 7 Habits for Peak Performance. Buy my book to build strong, healthy habits and transform your mind and your body.
Hello and welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm Chris Janke, joined today by Mindy Ruddock. Mindy, how's it going today? Second time on the show.
It's going fantastic. How are you today?
Great. We're just talking about different topics, and I think we settled on a good one. First, give a quick introduction for people who haven't seen the first episode of who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Mindy Ruddock. I'm a women's wellness coach. I'm also a martial artist. I teach yoga. I'm a massage therapist. I have a rather extensive, oddly put together resume, but it all comes down to wellness and, in the long run, movement.
Absolutely. Wellness and movement. They're all related. You're doing a lot of different modalities, but they're all related for sure. And I think that is a good segue for what we wanted to talk about today. Anything you're trying to achieve, whether it's success in martial arts or preventing those tight knots that are in our shoulders and backs that you're working on with your massage, or even, kids sports, anything like that, is you can't build a house on a crooked foundation, or you can, but it's not going to be a straight and strong house, right?
Absolutely not.
I think I love how general this is because you and I do posture alignment, fitness, core training, stuff like that. And I think both of us have examples of you can't build a house on a crooked foundation. How would you describe this when you're talking to maybe like a parent of one of the martial art kids, or maybe you're giving someone a massage and they have some imbalances?
With my parents of students, with the parents, it comes down more to your crooked foundation can't be, so you want changes in your students' behavior, you want them to listen better, you want them to understand better. Well, that can't just come from one 45-minute class a week. The foundation has to come from everything they're doing. Yes, I'm going to reinforce and I'm going to teach new guidelines and new rules or different ways of saying things. But if they're only hearing it from me, then it's not going to go forth and it's not going to work for them. When it comes to a student learning a new move, a new technique, I definitely emphasize to them that their foundation has to be strong. Their basics have to be really good. I'm not going to show you a twisting, turning, flying jump kick if your basic front ball kick is messy and has unnecessary movement involved. My massage therapy clients, I'm not going to advise you on ways to stretch and way to move and way to function if every single time you visit me we're still working on getting that same one spot, because you're not helping in any way, shape, or form. You're not working on the fundamentals of what needs to happen. So it goes different ways with age group, modality, and how it needs to be approached.
Yeah, 100%. I have 4 kids, and it's sometimes challenging convincing the kids that they need to work on the basics, because again, they want to work on that flying jump kick that they saw in the Ninja Turtle movie, right? But and it's funny too, because adults are the same way. I think the adults are maybe a little bit more open to the basics, but they still fight it. So I'm 42 years old, and I'm pretty sure, let's see, yeah, all my clients are older than me. And I tend to attract people who are in like their 50s, 60s, even 70s, because the workouts I do are very gentle. They don't require a lot of heavy equipment, and they're balancing. And by gentle, I don't mean like easy, because if you're fitter and more balanced, like your workout will be harder. But it's incredible, like we really want to master this like plateau before we go to the next one. And that word is like a bad word in fitness. Plateau. Oh, he's hit a plateau. Great, you've hit a plateau. That means you've mastered that level, right? Now let's go to the next one. So you guys do the belt system, right? In your
Yes, we do.
yeah.
Yes.
The belt system's a great example. It's like you're not going to teach a black belt move to a white belt, right?
No, but I will teach a white belt move to a black belt.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Sometimes
Because
we skip the foundation, right? The fundamentals.
and sometimes they get to a certain level and they're like, oh, I don't need that information anymore. But
Yeah.
that's information. That's what got you to where you are now. So yeah, you do need to revisit that.
Yeah.
It's funny. I am also 42. And I
Nice.
also, when I teach yoga and Tai Chi, I have a tendency of attracting kind of the same age. My mom takes yoga from me. She's 75. I teach a slow flow, meditative style yoga where it's not get into the move, get out the move, get in the move. It's get in the move, do a 4-count breath, move out. It's a little bit more of a, like you said, a gentle. It's not, I mean, it's still as intense,
Yeah.
but it's more gentle on the bodies, and they still need to know the basics of a warrior pose or the basics of how I need to lengthen my neck and create space, but
Right.
they're just learning it in a different way.
Right. I think that's huge. Learning, even just how to contract a specific muscle and without contracting everything at the same time. I just think that's a really interesting concept, that directionality where you wouldn't teach a black belt move to a white belt. But absolutely, if you're a black belt, you're advanced, you've been doing it for years. All right, we're going to do the basics. And I'm thinking of a couple things. I played basketball for a lot of years, and that was always the first thing. You have to go to your footwork. You have to go to the basics. You can't be doing slam dunks and behind the back no look passes until you know how to do like a jump stop and stop on 2 feet. Look, and all those more creative moves come from that. And I'm even thinking of like, I don't know why my mind went here, but like non-fitness, non-health related things, like just day-to-day living with people, manners, like adults learning manners, things like that. So, because people, driving, road rage, stuff like that, sometimes we all need to go back to the basics and remember those things that we're teaching our children even.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it all comes down to, fundamentals. It's a word we use a lot. I don't always like the word basics because it
simplifies it too much.
Yeah,
maybe.
but fundamentals, it's like you're laying something down. That's why I like saying to my students, it's the foundation. You don't want it crooked. We do a lot of, in martial arts, it's stances. It's how you stand.
Yeah.
And if your basic horse stance is crooked, or your knees are pointed out, or your knees are collapsing in, or your body's not upright, how can you move from that? How can you build from that? So it's all, and yeah, like you said, adults manners. That's an interesting one.
Right. What is that book? Everything I need to know I learned in kindergarten.
Yes.
The foundational principles, I think, in whatever we are trying to learn, whether it is fitness or anything else, I think the 80-20 rule, or even like the 90-10, right? Like, if you learn just the basics, that'll take you 80% and it'll get you pretty far in a lot of things. So what are some of the basics in, let's say, yoga? What are some of your basic yoga practices, yoga moves, breathing?
I say breath. Finding your breath and allowing yourself to stop chest breathing. This goes to Tai Chi also. Don't take a breath into your chest. Actually imagine taking a breath down into your belly and it filling up like a balloon. Now you've taken your shoulders out of the action and you can just focus a little differently. So learning the breath will create the relaxation. And with Tai Chi, we move very slowly. And it has to be connected to the breath, because if you're breathing too fast, you're going to hyperventilate. You might even get a little loopy. But if you're doing slow, controlled breaths, it's easier to control your movement. With yoga, going from the breath, an upright seated position, we call it easy pose. Parents call it crisscross applesauce. I had a student call it crisscross ninja sauce, so I liked that one. But just
Ninja
being
sauce.
able to sit balanced in a comfortable seated upright position can go a long way, because you're bringing your core into it. You're bringing your stabilizer muscles. You're taking your legs out of it,
Yep.
but you're working those obliques, like all those important muscles that need to be maintained and get neglected. And with proper belly breathing, you are using those stabilizing muscles a little differently and focusing in, you're involving the pelvic floor even a little bit differently with those deep breaths, which isn't targeted very often at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting with belly breathing versus chest breathing. I read an article, this was years ago, about it didn't say necessarily that like chest breathing will cause a heart attack. It didn't go that far, but it did say it analyzed the heart attack victims of a certain ward of a hospital. And there were, I think, like 48. It was not a huge number, but there were a good couple dozen people. 48 heart attack victims, and they analyzed their breathing. Every single one of them was breathing up like this.
Yeah.
Like that it really does induce kind of that fight or flight response. It puts us into that sympathetic nervous system, not good for the heart.
No.
And again, not saying that causes anything, but there's definitely at least a correlation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, yoga is very powerful. Foundations. So Mindy, what would you say? Let's go a little bit bigger picture. I think just kind of wrapping up the episode, and we'll talk about what you're up to now as well. But what would you say is your message for people on a bigger, let's go really big picture? How do people get the most out of their lives? I think same question as before, right? You're a motivational speaker at a university graduation. How to get the most out of your life by Mindy Ruddock.
So I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to say, get out of your own way. Don't be the reason you're not succeeding. Don't talk yourself out of things. If it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. Let it happen. I mean, I guess it comes back to follow your intuition, listen to what it has to say, but get out of your own way.
Yeah, that's huge. Somebody who wants to get in touch with you, whether yoga or Tai Chi or martial arts for the kids or for themselves, how do they get in touch with you?
My email address is the Wellness Path WWC, which is Women's Wellness Coach, @gmail.com. Take out Gmail and just do .com, and that's my website. And then I'm on the socials. Instagram and Facebook are the same, the Wellness Path WWC.
The Wellness Path WWC. Nice. That's one thing actually we didn't really talk about is your women's health coaching. What does that look like? What does that entail? We'll give a quick plug to that.
So I went through burnout a few years ago, pre-pandemic, and I took some time right at the beginning of the pandemic and was able to heal and kind of grow from that and learn, hindsight 2020. What were my triggers? What were my symptoms? What did it look like for me? And now I take that knowledge mixed with everything else I do, and I help women identify what this burnout might look like for them, how to come out of it, how to grow from it, how to heal from it. And I utilize different techniques even more. I kind of go with, and I do energy work. I work with crystals, and I kind of help guide them along that way. It's not all about what I'm doing, though. They're setting goals. They're reminding themselves. I say they're finding their magic again. They're remembering what it was like before that burnout, because burnout just takes so much away from you. And it's a matter of being able to remember what you were before the burnout. And the burnout's not always from work. It can be from stay-at-home mom. It can be from outside. It can be from all sorts of influences. And we just identify it and grow from it.
Right. Awesome. 100%. Well, thank you so much, Mindy, for joining. Again, this is Health in the Real World. Mindy Ruddock. Thanks for joining us today, Mindy.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.